This is Gemara Zevachim, Daf Nun Ches. As a new parak, we begin the parak called Kodshei Kodshim, parak that's going to really continue on the theme of the previous parak of Ezehu Mekaiman, which taught us the different locations of the Shchita, of the Zvicha, Kodshei Kodshim, Kodshei Kalim, etc. I hope that by now we started davening maybe and saying Ezehu Mekaiman every day, which reminds us and is a bit of a chazara. But for now, let's begin a new parak. We like all the learning to be an incredible schos for Gabriel, schos refuah shlema, for Gabriel Simcha ben Miriam Ahuva, b'seich sha'ar chaylei Yisrael. We begin, says the Mishnah, Kodshei Kodshei sheshachtan b'roish hamizbech. Let's say you did the shchita b'roish hamizbech. Now, we know the roish hamizbech is not usually the normal place for doing the shchita. Usually the Rosh Mizbeach is the place for the hakdara, for the burning of the carbon. But let's say you did the shchita on top of the Mizbeach. Rabbi Yosi Omer, kilu nishchatu b'tzafoin. And the Rashi says, we'll learn in the Gemara why. It's as if you shechted about tzafoin. And we know that kachei kachet shchitasan about tzafon, as the previous parak taught us, Ezehu Mekaiman. So it says, Rabbi Yosi, it's fine. Rav Yesi, Rav Yehuda, Mer, Mechatzia Mizbeach, Viladarim, for the middle of the Mizbeach and southward, then Kedarim, Mechatzia Mizbeach Litzafain, Kitzafain. So we have a machlekes Rav Yesi versus Rav Yesi, Rav Yehuda. Rav Yesi holding anywhere on the Mizbeach is kosher. Rav Yesi, Rav Yehuda hold only on a half of the Mizbeach. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Asi Amar Rav Yechon. Omer Hayo Rav Yosi. Rav Yosi holds Kule Mizbeach B'Tzafin Kain. Really, this is a theme that we've been speaking about all the way back from the beginning of the Masechta. Where is the Mizbeach? And more particularly, what is that location called? Is the entire area of the Mizbeach called Tzafin only above the Mizbeach till the entrance or not? So says the Gemara, you know what? Rav Yosi holds that the entire Mizbeach is considered Batzafain, and therefore, Umay Ki'ilu. So what does the Mishnah mean when the Mishnah says, Ki'ilu Nishchetu Batzafain? I would have thought be'inyan al yerech. You would think you have to have al yerech ha-mizbeach, like the pasuk says, next to the Mizbeach. And therefore you would think that going al gabe ha-mizbeach is not called yerech ha-mizbeach veleka. Kamash malon, that shechting it al beroish hamizbeach is considered al yerech hamizbeach, and it's going to be kosher. Amar le Rav Zira le Rav Yasi. That's how Rav Asi explains Shitas Rav Yosi. So Rav Zira asks, Elamayata, that's Rav Yosi. Rav Yosi, Rav Yehuda, Hachanami, are you going to give the same shot that what? The Chetzi of Batzafa and the Chetzi of Badarain? Are you going to tell me that half is Batzafa and half is Badarain? And maybe, yeah. Chitem Hachanami indeed. Va'atu da'amri, but you, Rav Asi, hold Mishmei de Rav Yechon, Moed de Rav Yosi, Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda holds, Shem Shachtain Kinegdon Bekarka, if you Shachtai Kachei Kachei, opposite the Mizbeach on the ground, Psula. So you can't tell me that Rav Yehuda holds that half of it is Batzafain, because then half of it on the ground should be Batzafain and be kosher. But yet we know that Rav Yehuda holds that anywhere opposite the Mizbeach on the ground is Psula. So says the Gemara, Amar le Rav Asi responds to Rav Zera, Hachi Kama Rav Yechanan. This is what Rav Yechanan meant with regards to the location of the Mizbeach. Shnei Mikra Echad Darshu, both Rav Yosi and Rav Yis, Rav Yehuda learn up the same pasuk. What does the pasuk say? Says the pasuk, and you should shech the oila and the shlamim. So the pasuk says that the oila, which of course is kachei kachim, the shlamim, which of course is kachei kalim, could be shechted ala mizbeach. So the question is, what part? Rav Yosi savar kulu la'oila v'kulu l'shlamim. Rav Yosi holds that the entire mizbeach is kosher la'oila for kachei kachim, and as well kosher for the shlamim kachei kalim. That is Rav Yosi. Rav Yehuda Savar, no. Chetziav la'oila, v'chetziav l'shlamim. Half the Mizbeach is kosher la'oila for kachei kachim, and half is kosher for the shlamim kachei kalim. Te'is al kedaitach la'oila kosher. If you're going to tell me, like Rav Yosi holds, that the entire Mizbeach is kosher for the oila, hashta kula la'oila kosher, which means that kachei kachim could be shechted on the entirety of the Mizbeach, then kulul l'shlamim ibai. Then would you need to tell me that it's also kosher for the shlamim? So that's why this is not a possibility, because we know this really is a chazara back from the previous baruch. Kachei kalim can be shechted anywhere in the azara, whereas kachei kachim has to be batzafain. So if the kachei kachim could be shechted there, of course kachei kalim could be shechted there. The idach. So now that's Rav Yossi, Rav Yehuda. So what does Rav Yossi hold? The idach itzrich. Says Rav Yossi that we still need the pasuk for what? Maybe when it comes to the carbon oila, which is what? You're dachik, you're pushed, you're pressed for space. And that's why the Torah says you can shecht it on the Mizbeach. Aval Shlamim, dodachlei makim, the Shlamim, we have the whole Azara. Emalai. So Kamash Malon, so that's why we have to speak out the Chiddush that even the Shlamim, and you're right, but Etzim it's Pashit that Kachei Kalim can be shechted there. But the Chiddush is, don't think it's a special dispensation because you're lacking space for Kachei Kachim, even the Shlamim could be shechted there. Says the Gemara, smack in the middle of the Amud, the first one line is Kamash Malon. Says the Gemara, let's dive a little bit deeper. Gufa, let's go a little bit deeper in the aforementioned Braisa. Amar Ravasi, teaches Ravasi. One more time. Amar Ravasi, Amar Rav Yechanan, Maidi, Rav Yosi, Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda is Maida. Shem Shachtan, Kinegdan, Bekarka. If you shechted the kachei kachim on the ground opposite the Mizbeach, that is psula. Says Mara, 1 second, let's understand this. Amr le Ravachami Tifti the Ravina, my kinegdan bekarka. What does that mean? If you're going to tell me this refers to the Aman, the Salam, and the Soivev, but the Kasha is I Gufe Mizbeach, that's called the Mizbeach. So what are you telling me that that's kineged the Mizbeach? Boy, my kinegdan bekarka. What does it mean kinegdan bekarka? The Amma, the Soivev are not bekarka. So says the Gemara, maybe you'll tell me, the oven mechilos, bakarka, you made a hole in the ground right underneath the mizbeach, the and you shechted inside that hole. Says the Gemara, that can't be. Is that called mizbeach? Vatani mizbeach adama tasali, shemechober me'adama, shelo yivnenu, lo yal gabi mechilos, lo yal gabi keepin. Says the Gemara, the Mizbeach has to be complete, and it cannot mechubar to the ground, and it cannot be on top of a mechila, top of a hole, or on top of a kibbut, top of an arch. So this can't be the case. So says the Gemara, Leitzricha, 10 lines from the bottom. The first one line is Debatsre, Batsure, where they made the Mizbeach smaller, and he shechted on the ground that was an area that used to be utilized for the Mizbeach. That's the Chiddush that Rav Yossi, Rav Yehuda holds, that area is not kosher for kachei kachim. Why? Because it's not called batzafain. Says the Gemara, let's go to find the makar for another dinner. We just quoted the dinner of Rav Yechanan, that according to Rav Yossi, the entire Mizbeach is considered batzafain. Amar Rav Zeira, Efshar Isa lahad Rav Yechanan v'lo tinila b'masnitan. Is it possible Rav Yechanan is saying something and we never learned it in a Mishnah? There has to be a Mishnah that points this point of Rav Yechanan that what? The entire Mizbeach is called Batzafain. Nafak, he went out to dug, he was precise, v'ashkach, and indeed he found a Mishnah that's going to be showing us the Shita of Rav Yechanan. A Mishnah and Tamid that discusses the different ma'arachos, the different fires, the pyres, Pyres on the Mizbeach. Says the Mishnah, they selected beautiful teina branches. fig branches. Lisadir to arrange Maracha Shniya, the second pyre, shall Kitoires, Kinegid Abse Karen Maravis, Draimis, southwestern corner, Mashach Mena Karen, slightly drawn Klap itself northward Arba Mois. Boy made Chamish Saw, and it was approximately 5 saw, large of Gacholin, 3 lines from the bottom, with Shabbos, it was a little bit bigger. Boy made Shemaina Saw in Gacholin. Sheshama Yanaisin, over there they were placed what? Shnei Bezicha Lavaina. The 2 bazicha levaina, the 2 spoonfuls of frankincense, shalechem apanim with lechem apanim. Omaisi mana, Rabbi Yoisihi. Says the Gemara, and what is the reason for this? What is the reason that, so what do we see from this Mishnah? The fact that we see that this Maracha Shaniya is 4 amais from the southwestern corner, it must be Rabbi Yosi. Why? Titania, we learned in Abrai, so as we turn over to Non Chesa Mid Beis, Rabbi Yosi Aimer, Zesimin, this is the Simin, Kolanoi Hanitel Bifnim, Linasein Bachot, anything that is taken from the inside to be put on the outside, Einoi Noisin El Bisamoch, is only placed closest where Shein Lifnim, to the inside, to the entrance of the Beis HaMikdash of the Mishkan, Cholani Eitel, anything that is taken, continues the Gemara, Cholani Eitel Bachot, Linasein Bifnim, anything that is taken from the outside to be placed inside, Einai Eitel Ela Bisamoch, also, only in proximity, She'ein Lifnim, only from the Mizbech on the outside that is closest to the inside. Says the Gemara, what does this mean? Anything taken from the inside that's placed on the outside, what does that refer to? My Neo. If you're going to tell me this is the Shirayim, this is the remnants of the Chatos, that you take it from the Beis HaMikdash and you put it on the side of the Mizbeach, says the Gemara, we have that written explicitly 6 lines down that says that you said Mizbeach, it's klar, it's sourced that it goes on the Yisait. So where do we need this rule of Rav Yaisi? This rule of Kol Anitel Bifnim Linasin Bachotz, to where do you put it? So says the Gemara Visu. And furthermore, the second statement of Rav Yaisi, Kol Anitel Bachotz Linasin Bifnim Mainihu. What does that mean? If that refers to the coals of Yom Kippur, which is taken from the Zevachim Chitzain, and used to burn the Ketairis on the Kodesh HaKadoshim, but again, Nachamol. What do you need this klal of Rav Yaisi? Behed yaksiv v'hu, v'lakach mle'amachta, kach le'yesh v'gai, so the Gemara is wondering, what do we need? This Yisai, this Zesimin of Rav Yaisi, what exactly is this coming to teach us? So says the Gemara, I'll tell you. Ella, you know what the first part of Yaisi is teaching us? Ella kol ani delivnim ninasin bachot shnei bezichei levaina shalechem aponim. The Gamri that we learned them out from Meishirayim. Din number 1. Din number 2. Anita bachot sinatim lefnim is what? Kacholim is the coals. The kol yoma v'yoma of each and every day. The Gamra migacholim shal yoma kippurim. We learn out from the gacholim of yoma kippurim. So what do we see? Says the Gemara, it comes out that according to Rav Yosi, we're now having a limud, that the Maracha Shaniya that was used for the Levina, and that's where they took the Gechalim, the coals for the Ketairas. Where does it have to be? Based on Rav Yosi's rule, Samuch, closest to the entrance of the Beis HaMikdash. And where did the Mishnah and Talmud say it had to be? Daled Amais, by the southwestern corner. So based off of that, says the Gemara, so what do we see according to Rav Yosi? Oh my kasavar, 4 lines from the Y lines. So what does Rav Yosi hold? So now this is going to be a raya. Again, we're looking for the raya that the Mizbeach is Batzafon. So based on what we just said, says the Gemara, let's figure this out. If Rav Yosi holds that the entire Mizbeach is considered Badaraim, Esr V'Sheva, Boilem Eisi, then you'd have to bring 27 Amois for it to be considered opposite the entrance to the Beis Hamikdash. Then basically, it's completely in the wrong direction. It would have to be moved all the way over to make it opposite the Pesach, the entrance of the Beis Hamikdash Maisi. If he holds it half and half, like we just saw, there are like Rav Yosi, Rav Yehuda held. Then what? On the first white line says the Gemara, we have a different problem. Chad, sorry, Maisi. Then what? Then it should be 11 hamois. Velikasavar, says the Gemara. So maybe he holds that the kedusha of the Heichal, the Kedusha of Ulam is all one. Chada Milsahi. Shit by Lemesi. But then again, it should be 6 Amos. So the Gemara is grappling for the fact that we see in Talmud that Rav Yosi says it's only Dalit Amos. 4 Amos. That means that we now can figure out where is the Mizbeach situated. Because if Dalit Amos makes it opposite the entrance way to the Beis Hamikdash, now we know where the Mizbeach was. So Elalav, so here the Gemara proves in the second line, so what do we see? We see all the entire Mizbeach is considered Batzafoin. And these Dalit Amois that we just said, Amo Yisoid, Va'amo Soivev, Va'amo Mokoim, Koronois, Va'amo Mokoim, Raglei Kohanim, and that's where you get the Dalit Amois. Why? Because if it's any more than the Dalit Amois, it would not be opposite the entrance of the Beis Hamikdash. So we prove from the fact that the Mishnah and Talmud taught us that according to Rav Yosi, where it is placed, we see he must have held the Mizbeach was Batzafoin. So continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Ada bar Hava on the fourth white line. Hamani Rabbi Yehuda. Says Rav Ada bar Hava, who is this Tana? Rav Yehuda the Tanya. Rav Yehuda Mizbeach Memutza made Bem Sazara. The Mizbeach was precisely in the middle of the Azara. 32 amos hayulai wide. Esther amos kenega pischa shalechel. 10 amos opposite entrance of the echel. Achad asrei amma mikan. V'achad asrei amma mikan. 11 amos in either side. So 11 is going to be 22. With the 10 amos smack in the middle of the Pesach, 32. Nimsa mizbech mechavin kenega echel. So therefore we see the mizbech is mamish opposite the echel. Ask the Gemara 1 second. So if the Rav Yehuda Chatzri by Lemesi, according to Rav Yehuda, where should the Ma'aracha be? It should be 11 Amos. We just said it's Dalin. No, it should be 11 in order to make it up to the door. So one Kedusha, so even if it's not Mamish directed, it's called the same Kedusha. Shet by Lemesi should be 6. Says you want to be Savers, Hani Dalin Amos, Bahadi Amo Yisoid, Amo Yisoid, Arba Amos. It's 4 aside for that, and that's how you really get 6. And therefore, indeed, the kedusha of ulam and kedusha of the azara of the heichal, is all 1, and that's where you get the 6 amos. Says Marwei v'nikol Rav Yosi v'mutza. Why doesn't he just say like Rav Yosi and it's in the middle? 3 lines on the bottom. Rav Yehuda shemana le mimutza behedya. Because you heard explicitly from Yehuda that it's in the middle, not like Rav Yosi, and that's where it comes out. That's our raya. According to Rav Yosi, it's going to be all about Tzafain. We'll pick it up from Rav Shravia, a third shot in the Mishnah and Talmud in the next year, to Siyata Dishmaya.